What's up, you guys? It's Shani with Healing Elements. What up? How are you? I'm adding another addition to the playlist of archetypes, all about analysis of archetypes, what exactly something represents, or things we can take and reflect on it within our lives, or anything that you can use, entertainment or otherwise, with this video. Welcome to my channel. This is probably my favorite I've done so far, all about the archetype of Bob Marley. The archetype of Bob Marley. So I think that a big piece and a huge theme that I'll talk about throughout this video is Bob Marley and others being a messenger of peace and a messenger of bringing all together. And that transfers through a talent that they possess, music. And because music and the vibrations associated with that, what they make us feel is universal. We can hear and feel and understand things through vibrations and through music and through other people's expression of their thoughts, views, even political motives within music that are, felt all around. And so this particular archetype of Bob Marley is exactly that. So if you embrace this archetype, if you have something that you feel resonant with this archetype, you inspire others to come together. You inspire people to come together regardless of the differences of opinions and differences of political views. And so I think this is a perfect archetype to talk about at this time. I know I'm pleasant, as far as to, look at the world with rose-colored glasses. However, I think that that is something we all bring. Some of us bring to the table a negative tone. Some people bring, the glasses half full tone, and that is my MO. That's the way I am, and I'm going to continue to be that. It's great to be discerning and look at things with a logical perspective, but my natural innate personality is all about this archetype. I love Bob Marley. I think, there's controversial things that will be said in this video, but you should know that is what I feel, and I'm not putting it upon you. I have always believed and still do believe in natural medicine that is both tribal, herbal, comes from Gaia, comes from source. This is all about that vibe as well. So Bob Marley's archetype talks about plant medicine. So he sings and loves, and you can see him in all of his different, videos or expressions, verbally, musically, otherwise, talking about marijuana and the properties of the communal smoking of plant medicine, a quote unquote homage to his chosen religion, which was Rastafarian, which was Abrahamic. And regardless of the religion, he still preached that individuality and coming to a point where you want to rebel against what you feel is against your morals is the utmost important, in doing this with peace and togetherness. That is what this archetype is all about. So when we talk about Bob Marley, I love it. I think that he definitely embodies his sun sign of Aquarius. He was born February 6th, and he is the sun sign of Aquarius. Shout out to all my Aquarians, including my grandma. May she rest in peace. And also, one of my best friends, she is Leo, and she has been married to an Aquarius for quite some time. And his wife, Rita, was a Leo. I found that to be fascinating. I find a lot of couples are Leo and Aquarius, and I find that that's beautiful because it embodies both the Aquarian energy of rebellion, speak your piece, not worry about, reputation, bring all together, and then the exuberant energy, spark, let's get things done, let's create energy and exuberance and excitement that Leos bring. I think it's a beautiful power couple. So moving forward, the archetype of Bob Marley, I think that when we talk about this archetype, of course, we talk about ganja, we talk about legalization of marijuana, we talk about plant medicines that do not inebriate you to the point of where you do not know what's going on. More so, I believe in the healing properties, both with the cells, the body. You can have mental, healing as well. When you are, some people, this helps their anxiety. Some people, this helps them to sleep, which sleep aids in everything. Sleep is the most important criteria that we have, in my opinion, that regenerates our body, right? This is a natural thing that we do. It's, in our circadian rhythm, and when it is set right, or we are getting enough from that, and or meditating, whatever your thing is, this helps us to flourish and helps us to, I think, embody this archetype of peace and bringing more understanding around, period. If people are they're sleepless, or they have things that are impairing them. Maybe they're hungry or sleepy. This can take a toll on their mental energy, and we may not be able to see the compromise or understanding in things that we may otherwise if we are relaxed. And so this sense of the archetype is not just about the drug, the you know, the high in which the marijuana plant medicines or other plant medicines give you. This is about the togetherness. So the archetype, again, I'm not preaching any drug. This is about a substance like an ambrosia, if you're familiar with the mythologies. This is about something that is said to unite. This is something that is done as a communal, right, effort. And I think just like everything in moderation, maybe as some religions celebrate, the wine of the blood of Christ, this is about having a substance that is shared within, and we are symbolically, ceremonially expressing this togetherness of union, camaraderie, of the same convictions, of the same beliefs in togetherness, and wanting to perpetuate this theme. I think that also when we talk about the archetype of Bob Marley, we talk definitely about fighting for our rights, fighting for freedom, first and foremost, fighting for freedom within a structure. So this can mean many things, obviously. This can mean fighting for freedom to get out of a situation that you feel you have been restricted and confounded and you are bound by. This is also talking about freedom of rights, where we are under a government structure, we are under maybe tyranny, we are under something that is restricting our rights to choose. I just saw something that inspired me to do this video. Ironically, it's not about Bob Marley. It is on Netflix. I highly recommend it. Shout out to my Aquarius. I love you, Ash, forever. This is about, it's called The Program on Netflix. This is about a complete, dumbing down of human rights to the point where when there's so much restriction, rules, guidelines, consequences that are negative and abusive, we then therefore are traumatized, changed. We cannot operate in the same manner. We get sometimes some of these kids on the show, you have to watch it. It's just very sad the way it affected them. Some of them rebelled. I love this one character who rebelled the entire time and would just suffer the consequences. This reminds me of that Bob Marley archetype, somebody who will not speak ill of their beliefs or faith. They will go down and suffer the consequences until the very end, right? So this program is about these behavioral institutions. It's bullshit, but it's basically about, they would preach to parents about their, children. They needed to be taken away to these residential facilities, boarding house, school type things, which did not really teach anything in school, and do it their way, which it was all about restricting their freedoms. And guess what happened? It turned a whole bunch of kids into, PTSD, having depression, living with anxiety-ridden souls that are having to process this and heal, hopefully, and or not. There's a lot of them they talked about committed suicide due to this abuse and trauma and lack of empathy and system of control and power, which is not how we teach our youth, in my opinion. We teach our youth, of course, with an amount of discipline, but not in a form that is without empathy. So I think when we talk about Bob Marley's archetype, we talk about that, fighting for freedom, but with love and unity. Talking about, though, we can't give up the fight for our own rights, because our individual rights, when squashed, when restricted, we turn into something that we are not. And we all bring an individual beauty and unique thing to this earth and essence that we want to share with everybody, and we want to have that essence be true. And when we feel we are not free, even from our own, like me, myself, negative talk or something that I've gotten in the past, when we get into our mind with others' opinions and roasting and, things infect our mind, and we start to even contemplate whether or not it could be true, that's when we fail, because we're not living from our individual truth. When we put something like these videos out here, like archetypes, if we're doing it from our heart, even if nobody watches it, this is something that is just singing our song through the universe. This is something that we're communicating, we're doing on the earth, that says something to who we are. So when you do something and it is within your individual rights, you have such a privilege. So I'm grateful. I think this Bob Marley archetype has to do with gratitude about freedom, being appreciative and being able to celebrate this freedom because it's so coveted. A lot of people don't have it in whatever way that means, whether or not you're in a country that does not celebrate any freedom of rights and is very, very oppressive, and to the point of, just, I can think of many countries, we'll leave it out, that are just very extreme and would, you know, put restrictions that are barring against our own freedom of anything from gender expression down to, in this case, in the Netflix documentary I watched, the program, they were restricted and their freedoms were taken away to the point where they could not even look in the mirror. They could not look out the windows. They could not, they had to sleep sometimes with their arms outstretched. You know how hard that would be when you fall asleep? It's just these kind of things sing out to me. And I wanted to do this today about the freedom of individuality. Thank God for YouTube. Thank God for people. Thank God for you who are listening positively, who have commented and really been affected from my videos in a way that you can resonate with. I think even the people who I've grown to love that are like, they're haters about it or whatever it is that they email me about. It is something that I've grown to know and not just say, I understand. This is for them too. This is for them to show, you know what? I know that if it's cringeworthy for you, it has to be doing something within you. And I used to think about it like in a different way. I used to think, well, I hope these videos will, express myself and they can understand me. But now, no, it's not that. It's about, guess what? They have to just understand one thing. Everybody has the right to express. So this archetype of Bob Marley is, you have the right to express. I hope this inspires you to express. I hope that if somebody of importance maybe tells you that is really cringeworthy, I hope you still do it. I hope you dance like that Leanne Warmock song. I hope you guys continue to do videos of any kind, even if it's this talking about what you're talking about. And you know what I mean, right? Certain people understand that. So I think that this Bob Marley archetype is beautiful. I really resonate with it. It's talking about suffering, and how to end suffering has to do with coming together. Like the Beatles, I think that has a big, and John Lennon has a big, we could put them into this archetype category of, through music, through song, through words, through deep musical vibrations combining. Bob Marley was in a band, the Wailers, right? This coming together with instruments and vocalization to bring people together, and really feeling it. You can feel when people are authentic, right? So if I'm doing this right now, I am doing this out of my authentic heart space. When you do things like that and you create, somebody is going to feel it, and it's going to spread to the people who need to hear it. So of course, I'm not saying the entire world resonates with Bob Marley and the Wailers music, but the people who needed to hear it, who also believe in the freedom of love, the freedom of coming together, despite what your differences are, despite what judgments you may have had or still have, coming together anyway and unifying. This archetype of Bob Marley is unification in the most grand divine way. He was very spiritual. He was into a religion called Rastafarianism, or Rastafari. It's an Abrahamic religion, like I said. It was just developed in the 1930s, so fairly new. And it talks about, Judah, the Lion Zion. This is about a love of spirituality, and again, he preached in his songs with this message to the world, both things, right? So oxymorons, duality, this contrast, black and white, is really not a contrast. It's a blending together in which we come and we unify and we understand it as all. Because he would preach, Rastafarian, but he welcomed all walks of life to listen to his music, to understand the concept that he was preaching is, hey, I am the Messiah of peace. I am a messenger of peace through my music, and I want you to understand the differences of us. I'm not trying to bring you into my category. I'm trying to understand that both categories are relevant. We can blend and love and unify and smoke some ganja together and still be in our own sovereign state of mind and understanding of what we believe, right? I think that this, archetype of Bob Marley also speaks of the common people, also speaks of those who may not get a voice, because when we have money and we have power and we own maybe media companies, we have some sort of edge, we have some sort of political privilege that gets us into the limelight to speak, maybe because of who our parents were or whatever the case may be. When you have a voice, most times it takes money. However, this archetype speaks of that opposite sense of we can be a common people and come up from this beautiful roots in Jamaica. He's from Jamaica. He's speaking with, again, people in his just communal area and speaking out of his heart, making this music, and it grew to a larger, you know, bigger, huge, and now the world knows Bob Marley, and I hope the world knows what he stands for. This is about just coming from grassroots up, not having to have an edge, not having to have some sort of privilege that got you into the limelight. This is about a natural, heart, authentic message that was coming right from ground zero, and it has to flourish because of what it stands for, not because of what it's worth. This beautiful thing that comes from what it stands for and not what it's worth. So in any case, guys, I will leave you off with the Bob Marley archetype and its genius to end suffering, and the mission here in our world as we raise our consciousness, in my opinion, is to bring more love to the way we care about the earth, each other, and understand that everybody has the freedom of choice to do whatever they choose in any way that that means. And of course, fighting for our rights of peaceful existence, in which we do not encroach upon other people's peace. You know, if they have an individual expression, do you for you, and be free and happy and sovereign, and come together with others that may not want to do what you are expressing. They may not understand what you are expressing, but if you're not encroaching upon them in a negative way, coming together, unifying all of this to strengthen numbers where we have differences. Diversity breeds authentic change and positivity. Diversity breeds authentic change and positivity, in my opinion. So guys, I appreciate you listening as usual. I appreciate you understanding that these are just my expressions, my whole heart expressions. I'll continue to do so. And I really recommend that you do it. The more you express your true heart, whether or not you have people who are in your corner or not, it truly comes down to if we live by compliments, then we die by critique, guys. Blessings, love, and light.